We move away from Thruxton to Oulton Park in Cheshire on the island layout. It's the halfway point of the season and it's taking place around this 2.26 mile circuit. Let's join the BTCC trackside commentary team to take you through this first free practice session.
20 points available for each race win, potentially 22 points for each race with bonus points for leading a lap and fastest lap as well. A point for pole position, 67 points available across the course of a weekend then, and 5 points separating the Napa Racing UK driver, four-time champion Ash Sutton. Jake Hill looking for his first championship title, third in the standings last year. He's already had 4 wins. He's the form driver really. He's had 4 wins from the last 6 races in the Laser Tools JBMotorsports BMW. Tom Ingram, the 2022 champion for Team Bristol Street Motors, is third on 155 points. Won the first 2 rounds of the season at slightly wet Donington Park. And Colin Turkington is also, like Ash Sutton, looking to become a first ever 5-time British Touring Car champion. He at the moment is 4th in the championship on 136 points. They've been sharing most of the winning between them. Colin's had a couple of wins as well at Brands Hatch, a really good weekend for him. But we've also had reverse grid race wins this year for Aidan Moffat at Donington Park and at Snetterton last time out for Rob Huff, his first win in the British Touring Car Championship for 20 years, but that is really only because he only had that 1 full season in the touring cars in 2004, his rookie season. He's not raced around this track since that period. He finished 7th in one of the races in 2004, but he has been on the podium here in Clio's and in Seats, where he was the Seat champion. But Rob Huff, last time he was here, it was in Super 2000 era, so he's going to be out there in the Toyota, run by Speedworks, Toyota Gazoo Racing UK, with Rob Huff and Andrew Watson, their home circuit, because they're based only around about 10 miles from the track in Northwich, and so they're hoping for a good weekend, a better weekend than they had at Thruxton. So that's the order of the championship as it stands. Matt James from Motorsport News has very kindly come up to the commentary box.
Right.
Matt, how are you doing?
Very good, thank you. Yeah, lovely to be here. What a great day.
Yeah, for a change.
Yes, that's really nice.
It's not wet. I haven't been able to say that often this year,
No,
have we?
that's true.
And it should be, fingers crossed, I hope I'm not cursing this, but it should be dry all weekend long. So perhaps a bit cloudier tomorrow, but it's going to be dry. That track temperature was already creeping up in the first qualifying session. It could be a factor this afternoon, couldn't it? It's going to be getting really hot, I think, the track this afternoon.
Yeah, it is. And obviously they've got we have a new qualifying format for this year, which should eliminate some of the moans and groans about traffic. Around here, that was always a problem. This seemed to be the track where people would trip over each other, but with less cars on the track as the sessions evolve, it's going to be interesting to see how that all plays out, I think.
And the lack of hybrid here for the front runners in the championship in qualifying, that could really punish them around this circuit, because you've got some slow speed corners where you know it's not just about the lack of hybrid, it's about when you can use it as well, getting up to that minimum speed before you can use it. But also it's a pretty undulating circuit here as well.
Well, yeah, if you think about the exit from the hairpin going up to Hilltop, the exit from Lodge coming up to Deer Leap, everywhere there's a sharp corner, there's a big steep hill at the other end of it, and that's going to mean that deploying the hybrid when you get to that certain speed will be vital. If you've only got 1 second of it to use, if you're Ash Sutton, you've got to pick your spot, haven't you, really?
Yeah. I mean, it hasn't really held him back much so far in qualifying. He's done brilliantly, hasn't he, with lack of hybrid, but this might be the one place it's a struggle.
Yeah, I think it's really going to tell here. And also, generally in the past, the inclines after sharp corners tend to suit the rear-wheel drive cars. Just the dynamics of the car with the weight going to the rear gives them more traction coming out of those corners. So it's not been great for front-wheel drive here. So it could put Ash on the back foot a little bit, but we've said that a million times before, and he's gone on pole by half a second. So you'll find out this afternoon that we don't know what we're talking about.
He's very happy with the car at Thruxton. Got that first race win of the season, which seems odd. He's gone that far into the season before winning a race, but he's been very good at picking up the points, picking up the podiums in pretty much every race so far this season, which is what you need to do.
Yeah, I think a lot of the drivers sort of look at the end of season points tally, divided by 10, and go, right, I need 35 points a weekend or 40 points a weekend. Doesn't matter how that comes. It's nice to win, obviously, but as long as you keep that points tally ticking over and scoring the big points when you can. It's a lot. They often say it's like a game of poker. It's when to hold them, when to fold them. Know when to go for a move, when to stick there. Keep the points ticking over, and that's what Ash has done. And even he said after Brands, there's going to be a different way to win this championship this year. It's not about gunning for the wins. It's about keeping keeping those points coming.
Because it's already a pattern of that top 4 in the championship are sharing the wins, really, aren't they? So nobody's going off, and I think anybody's going to go off and win 8 or 9 races this year. Although
Jake Hill's
trying, isn't he? Yeah,
Jake Hill might go to that, but yeah. And it is funny because no matter what they tend to throw at this championship in terms of, hard tyres, soft tyre, went back when it was weight, or, hybrid allocation, the top drivers always manage to navigate their way through everything that's thrown at them. And if you look at the points table, you would arguably say, we've got the best 4 drivers in the top 4 places in the points, haven't we?
Yeah.
So, it just goes to show that the cream rises to the top, definitely.
And one factor this weekend is it's the first combination of tyres with the soft and the hard compound that we've had this season. So with the new compounds from Goodyear this year as well, it's a big difference between the medium and the soft that we've already seen. Lap times could be close to a second. Between the soft and the hard, it's going to be over a second, isn't it?
And that goes back to your point about the weather as well. If it's really hot, then what's that going to do to the soft tyre? What's that going to do to the longevity of how long those cars are going to have grip? We did try the soft and hard split last year, and it worked brilliantly. So as long as the rain stays away, we'll be fine.
It will.
It will. Is that a promise from you, is it?
No, well, you don't want that, because that won't happen then.
Yes, okay.
It was spitting last night, actually. I was like,
it did a little bit,
that's not supposed to happen. What time's qualify? 3:35.
Yeah.
So that might be the period when it starts raining, because that's what normally happens, isn't it? No, we'll be all right. It'll be dry. Right, we see this sort of homework that goes on really in the first part of the first practice session. So a lot of them come straight back in. Some of them stay out for a lap, then come back in. There's a lot of systems checks that they have to do here, really, and that eats into their practice time, doesn't it?
Yeah, of course, and there's very limited testing within the BTCC. Each car only gets 4 days a year, so it's not like they're out on a Wednesday pounding around Snetterton and getting everything sorted out. It's when they come to the race meetings, a lot of them, it'll be the first time they've been out anywhere since a brief shakedown, if they can do that. They need to make sure everything's working properly, make sure the brakes are okay, bed in the pads, bed in the discs, bed in the tyres.
Just team radios, even small things like that.
Team radios, yeah, absolutely, yeah, just to make sure everything works.
And also figure out where you can use your hybrid, because there's no limitation on what you can do with it in practice. So that's a big part of what they're doing, is looking at, okay, where's the best corner to use it, where's the best place to apply the hybrid, especially if it's limited.
Absolutely, and there's a different sort of strategy to deploying hybrid in a practice qualifying session than there would be in a race, because in a race you're going to use it to defend or try and overtake someone, whereas in a qualifying or practice session it's purely about lap time. So that will alter the way that the drivers will deploy where they want to deploy, but this is the time to work all that out now. So that's exactly and you can tell the little flashing blue light on the side of the car for people trackside, that's when the guys are on the button and they're getting their extra electrical power, and it is interesting to see the different tactics and when people deploy. And
it's working this year, isn't it? That sort of double amount of excess power that you get through a hybrid, it's really starting to come in. A lot of drivers have said last year it was kind of enough to get you alongside somebody. This year it's definitely enough to get you past them.
Yeah, absolutely. There's been a small incremental increase depending upon, like you say, what speed a car's at and where you are on the grid, but it has made the difference in terms of overtaking, which has only improved the racing, really.
No, we've had some really good races this year, haven't we? Just going back to the tyres, with the soft tyre, cooler conditions at places like Brands Hatch at the start of the season, second round of the championship. We haven't, in fairness, got to use the slick tyres a great deal this year, have we? But when we have, it's been cooler. And the soft tyres didn't really go off there, did they? A great deal. But it could be a different story here, like you say, with much hotter track.
Yeah, a hotter track and probably some more demands on Oulton Park than you would have at a Brands Indy. So it's an interesting journey. Nobody knows, like you say. So this, it's time to find out, isn't it?
Yeah, no, exactly. And the theory being soft tyre means that it's quicker, it's stickier, but it doesn't last as long, it goes off quicker. A hard tyre takes a lot longer to bed in, it'll go forever, it'll keep going, but it won't ever give you that ultimate grip, that ultimate lap time. So the soft tyre is the prime tyre. They get 12 tyres, softs to use over the course of the race day. The hard tyre is the option tyre. They get 4 of those. They won't want to use the hard tyre, but the other strategic sort of complication is if you finish in the top 10 in race 2, whatever tyre you're on, the next race you've got to use the hardest compound available. So if you finish in the top 10 in race 1 on the soft tyre, you're going to have to put the hard tyre on for race 2.
It's all very complicated, isn't it? I wouldn't like to be an engineer these days.
There's a lot to go. Yeah, and like you say, an awful lot for them to think about. In 35 minutes of free practice, and then suddenly the time just goes away from you. Then the last thing you want is your driver going off in one of these sessions and losing that pretty limited amount of time you've got to get everything set up. So we've got a few starting to pop some sort of lap times in at the moment, including Tom Ingram, which is on a 125.244. Ronan Pearson at 126.245, just over a second behind him. Then Jake Hill's popped in a time, but not a very quick one as yet, with a 128. Rob Huff and Adam Morgan have also crossed the line. In fact, Rob Huff's just gone through again. That's quicker from him, 128.0. His teammate Andrew Watson goes through as well. Napa are busy in the pit lane with Dan Rowbottom coming in. Sam Osborne's already in. The other two are out on track as it stands. So starting to get busier. Still just under 25 minutes of the session to go. The Vauxhall Astra going out. Mikey Doble on the hard compound tyre. That's the red sidewall tyre. Vauxhall and PMR saying they feel they're pretty confident around this track. They like the soft tyre, those Astras, they're saying. So they feel quite confident of some good results this weekend.
Yeah, they've actually been sort of chipping away at it this year, and they have been very competitive. It's a super chassis. The Vauxhall always has been, and around here they call it a driver's track. It's a chassis track as well, isn't it? It's not about the outright grunt of some of the other places. So I think they've every reason to be positive.
Yeah, I think so. Aaron Taylor Smith heading back out as well. Like a lot of the drivers saying, this is one of his favourite places to race. Aaron heading back out now. Led races briefly this year, including at Brands Hatch on the reverse grid race, just outside the podium. That one of the fourth place finish. Mikey Doble's had a fourth as well, so they're pushing on. As you say, though, the driver on form absolutely is Jake Hill, and the BMW should be strong around here, has been in the past. And when he gets 6 wins last year, he's already got 4 wins this year.
He was a double winner here last year, wasn't he, Jake? So.
And he's good around here, yeah. He very nearly got his first ever touring car win here. He crossed the line first, didn't he? But later got excluded after some bit of contact with Matt Neal. But he likes this place as well, so he's going to be looking to walk away from Oulton with the championship lead potentially, isn't he, as he goes into Old Hall Corner.
Yeah, just set the second fastest times, sort of competitive time, 2 tenths behind Tom Ingram. What is noticeable in this year of the BTCC particularly, I know we say that in FP1 there's a lot of housework to be done, a lot of homework to be done, but drivers that they have to hit the ground running now. There's no time to claw back major setup changes through FP1 and FP2 because it's so competitive. Everyone has to be at the front right from the get-go, and you'll find whoever's in the top sort of 5 or 6 at the end of this session will be the main paces throughout. They'll be the guys to watch.
No, it certainly seems to be, even in FP1, a lot of almost sort of dummy qualifying runs that happened that he didn't really used to get last season or the season before. So Tom Ingram still got that best time, 125.1, but Jake Hill knocking on the door now with 125.395 last time through, just over 2 tenths adrift. Aaron Taylor Smith stays out there on track, pushes on. Over the last 5 years, it's been BMW that have had the more success here in terms of race wins. Last 5 seasons, they've won 7 races around here, BMWs. Hyundai, Ford, Honda all win 2 each. We've had a win from Infinity. Ash Sutton's last win here was when he was driving the Infinity, and Mercedes with Adam Morgan have had a win here. It's been split evenly between front and rear-wheel drive. Front-wheel drive cars 8 wins, rear-wheel drive cars 7 wins. But
I'm still putting my money on a rear-wheel drive car this weekend.
Yeah, no, I'll go along with that. Pole-wise, last year, Ash Sutton Ford Focus, Tom Ingram the year before in the Hyundai, Senna Proctor in the Honda Civic 2021 was on pole. Rory Butcher Ford Focus was on pole. Last BMW pole was Colin Turkington in 2019. But we shall see how it pans out. I mean, they've certainly got a big chance with Turkington and Hill and Morgan potentially as well. Morgan up there at the moment in 3rd place with a 125.958 second lap, but we've still only got kind of half a dozen or so that have set anywhere near kind of competitive lap times as yet. It's still been very much in and out of the pits for more than half the field.
Well, it's too warm, isn't it? They don't exert themselves too much.
Save your energy, that's it. It's a marathon, not a sprint and all that. Right. Tom Chilton about to head out. Aaron Taylor Smith has put in 126.3, 1.1 seconds off the fastest lap time that we've seen. Sam Osborne straight back in. We've got Tom Ingram, Ronan Pearson in the pits at the moment. He's impressed this year, hasn't he, Ronan? He hasn't necessarily always had the best results. He's been in the wrong place at the wrong time sometimes, but he's been rapid, hasn't he?
You're talking about Aaron Taylor-Smith leading at Brands Hatch. There was no way that Ronan Pearson was going to be denied that day.
No.
Straight up the inside into clearways
and
onto his maiden win, which was also his maiden podium in the series.
Yeah.
Absolutely crazy, but yeah, brilliant. Ronan's really sort of clicking with the team, and what a great place to learn. You know, being in Accelerate Motorsport, you've got the 2022 champion Tom Ingram to guide you, and Tom Chilton, who's been in this championship since it was in black and white. You know, so a really good place to learn everything. And yeah, he's absorbing everything, and thoroughly nice chap.
He's a really nice guy, isn't he?
Nice fellow,
yeah, really nice. No, it's good to see, having come from the mini challenge where he was a front runner in that second season in touring cars. He did get onto the podium at Donington Park in his very first weekend of touring cars last year, but had the result taken away from him for ride height infringement, which was just unlucky, really. It was one of those races where changing conditions.
The roller of doom.
Roller of doom, yeah. They changed from wets to slicks mid-race. And then he probably should have been on the podium at Knockhill as well, but he had to give way to his championship challenging teammate Tom Ingram, didn't he?
Yeah. That was heartbreaking, wasn't it? But played the team game, and you know, sure, those rewards will come back to him at some stage if he needs them.
Yeah, could be the case. Yeah, but he's definitely been impressive. He fits in. Tom Chilton pushing on. Hill's come into the pits. Ingram's out there on track, still quickest. So Robo started to put the hammer down now as well. He's gone fourth quickest. Taylor Smith fifth. Turkington sixth. Pearson's down to seventh. Dan Camish puts his first sort of slightly attacking lap in, and Ash Sutton's about to go into Old Hall Corner as well. So Camish and Sutton pretty close together. Good weekend all round for Dan Camish at Thruxton, whose season hasn't really got off to the best of starts, has it?
No, he always seems to struggle over the early parts of the campaign, doesn't he, Dan? Which is a real shame, because you know, once the momentum starts going with you, you can build up that confidence and you can build up the points tally. But when you get knocked down so early on, which he has been for the last 3 seasons in a row now, I think it just kind of leaves him on the back foot a little bit, and you feel sorry for him because he's quick. You know, he's a really quick driver.
Yeah, as proven. You know, he very nearly won the championship, didn't he, a few years ago. He has been a multiple Porsche Carrera Cup GB champion as well, Formula Ford star. Whatever he's driven, he's been quick in. I know lots of drivers will say this went wrong, that went wrong, had some bad luck here, bad luck there, but he does seem to have more than anybody else, doesn't he, bad luck? Yeah, that puncture at Brands Hatch curtailed his progress, didn't it?
Must have walked under a few ladders at some point, I think.
Yeah. That firing qualifying at Donington, the first Napa, you know, he was going well that weekend in pre-practice. You just, these things go wrong at the wrong times for him, but he'll keep bouncing back, and it was good to see him have a decent weekend last time out. His teammate Dan Rowbottom going into Old Hall Corner, he struggled a bit this year as well.
He's just gone second, as you've said that, so he,
right.
he knew what your thought process was there. But Danny's won round here before as well, hasn't he, Dan Rowbottom?
Yeah, his first win here,
Yeah, he's again another guy in a great team, great place to learn everything, and Dan's getting on with it, suited to this place, likes this place.
They all seem to get on at Napa as well, the drivers. They all seem to gel well together, and I think that environment is, well, obviously. So, you know, the rewards have been coming, haven't they, this last couple of seasons?
Absolutely, and when you're in a 4-car team, you know, you can speed up the development of the car so much if you do get on, and there's no secrets between the drivers and the various camps within it. You know, they've literally got 4 times as much data for any given car than a single car effort. So it's a requirement that they get on, and you know, are professionals, and that's part of the way they can demonstrate it, by working with their teammates.
Absolutely right. Tom Ingram is still quickest from earlier on. He's just gone through again, and almost as good as his best lap time, 125.252. Shows that he got on with it straight away, really, with that very early lap time of 125.150. Still 2 tenths quicker. Dan Rowbottom's just gone second, as Matt says. Jake Hill's in the pit, so he's third quickest. 125.395, only 27 thousandths behind Dan Rowbottom. Dan Camish is fourth quickest now. He's only 96 thousandths of a second behind Jake Hill. Then it's Adam Morgan in 5th place. Aaron Taylor-Smith in the pits is 6th. 7th is Ash Sutton. Up to 8th has just gone Tom Chilton. Colin Turkington 9th. Ronan Pearson in 10th place. And Dan Camish just goes through and goes up into 2nd place. And the number 27 Ford Focus for Napa. That's only half a tenth behind Tom Ingram as well. So the Napa car starting to get up there. Camish 2nd. Rowbottom in 3rd place. Sutton is in the top 6 as well.
Sutton's just been given a driver warning flag, so he needs to. He's obviously been exploring the limits somewhere.
Again, something you want to do in practice, isn't it?
Absolutely,
what can I get away with? What can I not quite get away with?
Absolutely. And there's a lot of sort of crucial points at various circuits where they are looking hard at track limits. Here it's on the outside of Old Hall, on the outside of Cascades, and coming out of Lodge are the 3 areas where the drivers have really got to behave themselves.
Yeah, where they push it beyond that, the white line which marks the edge of the circuit, or they go 4 wheels beyond the curbs. But you've got to get to that limit to get a good lap time. It's no use being too safe, too within the limits, because you can't get the power down quite as quickly as you want. You can't get as tight to the apex as you want in other corners, so you've got to find the limits, get on them, but not go just beyond them to start picking up penalties and losing lap times, and then in the races getting time penalties as well, potentially. Just got 15 minutes or so of the session to go. Tom Chilton heading on through, chased by the Toyota of Andrew Watson, leaving the pit lane with Scott Sumpton left a few seconds ago. Nick Halstead, that car rebuilt after its big shunt at Thruxton. Good to see Nick heading back out there, raring to go. So he doesn't really like Thruxton. He says some drivers love the place, some drivers hate the place. I'm in the hate the place camp. I don't really like it. He said I've no problem going quick at places like Eau Rouge, where he's raced in GTs, but Thruxton just doesn't appeal to me, he said. So he was pleased to see the back of that.
That's honesty for you, isn't it? Goodness me.
Mikey, he's very honest, actually. He's good insight into some of the things he says in the championship. He's very open about it, and credit to the championship as Ronan Pearson goes through. Tom Chilton improving up to 8th last time around, 1:25.681, which is about half a second slower than his teammate Tom Ingram. They pulled off 2 of the moves of the year, those two, didn't they, at Brands Hatch. The Tom Ingram one, 2 wheels on the grass on Ash Sutton. Was pretty impressive, wasn't it?
A late dive bomb, wasn't it? It was, very, very good move.
Don't think Ash liked it much, mind.
But see, the thing about Tom and Ash is that they get on. There's a little speed bumps when things like that happen, and they get a little bit narky with each other, but it never lasts for long.
No, there's a lot of respect there, isn't
good
there?
pals, you know. Yeah. There's no the man's an animal, John Cleland style ranting after.
More to the pity.
More to the pity, yes. Yeah, we need John back in this paddock, don't we? Come on, start a campaign.
I'm sure he'd be back in a heartbeat, wouldn't he?
Yeah, he would be. Yeah.
It's one of the few times I've been starstruck that when he came into the commentary box at Knock Hill last year, and my jaw dropped. He was brilliant fun there, great fun, as you can imagine.
Yeah. Well, the thing is he's so bashful. He never really has an opinion, does he, John? That is the trouble. He's so backward in coming forward.
No stories to tell whatsoever.
No, nothing.
Never got up to any mischief at all. No, brilliant. Yeah, hopefully he'll pop in at Knock Hill in the summer as well. Right, starting to get busier in the pit lane now, and that means that I think they're all ramping up, ready to push on maybe when we get to the last 10 minutes or so of the session. So Ingram, Camish and Rowbottom are all in. They're the fastest 3. Hill and Morgan, 4th and 5th at the moment, are on track. Ash Sutton, 6th, is on track. He's in the pits. 7th, Aaron Taylor-Smith is on track. Then Chilton and Turkington, 8th and 9th, also in the pits. Sam Osborne's up into the top 10 now. He's on track. And Mikey Doble's just gone 11th quickest. Ronan Pearson in the pits in 12th. Josh Cook, 13th in the pits. Andrew Watson is 14th. Darryl DeLeon is 15th. Rob Huff is 16th. Chris Smiley in the pits is 17th. And it's Nick Halstead in 18th. Aidan Moffat 19th. And Scott Sumpton 20th. Say 19th and 20th. They haven't put a proper lap time in yet, either of those drivers.
But they've been in and out of the pits, haven't they? I think Sumpton's on a quick lap now. So I don't think there's anyone we've unaccounted for, so we can't send Al running up and down the pit lane looking for cars that aren't there, if you see what I mean.
No, and they've all, apart from Scott Sumpton, done a similar amount of laps. They've all done between 8 and 11 laps, so it doesn't look like anybody's got any glaringly obvious issues.
Do you know, the interesting thing is that, no, I haven't been running up and down the pit lane to report on anything because...
It's too hot.
No, it's not too hot, no. Yeah, it's too hot. Just because I haven't really noticed from the pit wall any particular problems for anybody. Maybe one little story that I'll follow up after the end of free practice is just to see how Nick Halstead is feeling after being back in a touring car, because he was bashed about a little bit just a couple of weeks ago and took a few days to get over that. But I will do. But I will confess I've just been spending a very pleasurable 10 minutes reminiscing on the pit wall with Matt Neal, who is as chilled out a character as he possibly could be at the moment. He's enjoying life, and it was really nice to catch up with him and have a chat. We were properly reminiscing. We were going back to the 1990s and the BTCC all the way up to the present day.
So you were on the pit wall, were you, Al?
I was, yeah.
but you're kind of strawberry blonde in this weather. It's not really going to play well, is
and
it?
a few people have advised me to put on some protection factor.
It's the only way forward for you, Al.
I had a peeling forehead after Thruxton, you know.
Did you really?
Yes.
Was that anything to do with the weather?
Yes, it was everything to do with the weather.
Yeah, okay. Good.
I realise you have to check these things,
Yeah,
but
well,
it was.
just typical factual accuracy, you know.
Yes, yeah.
I've got an England Barmy Army bucket hat if you want it, Al, if that helps.
Oh, that would be nice. That's
look
very
great in
much
that.
my style, yeah.
Yeah. Let's not talk about England, eh?
No, either sport.
Well, our media guru, Simon Mellerish, has been supporting on site, hasn't he? He's just been to the first 2 matches.
Yeah,
Oh, is he?
flew back from Germany yesterday,
right.
didn't
Yeah.
he?
He's seen some tremendous football then. From the opposition. Yeah, it'll get better. It's all right. This always happens. They always play badly in the group stages.
Yeah, well, you imagine last weekend I was at Knock Hill covering BSB.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, exactly.
What, when the first game happened?
Yes.
Yeah.
Football was
That
not a
wasn't great,
subject
was
that
it?
we no.
They got better in the second game though,
Yes,
so they got a chance.
but we weren't in Scotland for the second game. We were there for the first game.
Ah, I see.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that was pretty poor. I have to
Not
say.
ideal.
But
No.
surely being at Knock Hill just cheered you up, Al.
It made me very happy.
Yeah.
Yes, it always does.
Yeah. Wonderful place.
It'll all be fine. What will happen is they'll get through the group. There'll be a bit of hope. We'll win the round of 16. Then we'll play our best game, but lose in the quarter or the semi-final. That's the one. We always play really well in the game we lose. I don't know why that happens.
Yeah,
but there you go.
it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Just checking more track limits warnings. What Sam Osborne getting told off here. It seems to be the Napa cars that are getting in hot water.
Yeah, we've got a camera on the exit.
Well, they should slow down then.
They should. I don't know why they go so
No,
quick, Al. I've no
ridiculous.
idea.
Just stay in the middle of the track.
Just
It's
be
easy, isn't it?
sensible.
No, we can't see a great deal from the commentary box position here, but we got some CCTV pictures, and there's one on the exit to Old Hall Quarter, and they are properly on the curbs going out of there. That's, as you say, that's one of the hot spots, isn't it?
Yeah.
And there is a white line, then a curb, and if you can go 2 wheels past the white line, but all 4 go past, you start picking up those track limits, and a few of them, and a couple of them have just done it as they go past me. They've just done it. You've got to be careful there. They're pushing on.
That was one of the Corollas. It was either Josh Cook or Aidan Moffat, but given the body language of the car, I'm suggesting that was Aidan Moffat.
Yeah, it looked very Aidan Moffat, didn't it? Yeah. As in it was sideways. Was exploring the limits, finding them, going a bit beyond them, and having a hairy moment, that was. But it is spectacular. If you get a chance, I mean, you can walk around a lot of the Oulton Park circuit. I heartily advise you go and stand somewhere near the exit to Old Hall at some point this weekend and watch touring cars, because they are spectacular through there. The commitment is unreal, isn't it?
It really is. See, Tom Ingram hasn't improved on that time he set really early on in this session, didn't he? The 125.150.
It was just
Dan
about,
Camish very close to him, but they seem to have set the times and then settled into doing something else, don't they? If you know what I mean.
it was just about the first proper lap of the session,
Yeah,
that,
it was,
wasn't it?
Yeah.
So just proving it works. Let's go through everything else now, see what we've got. But we can always go back to that setup. Although I say you can go back to a setup, you probably can't when you get to qualifying later on, because the track will have changed, not just the track temperature, but all the rubber that will have been laid down from the other sessions make it quite a big variable. You have to think on your feet in these sessions.
And the qualifying sessions are now really high pressure moments, aren't they? With the 5-minute turnaround between the session of 12 cars, then the session of the full 12 cars, then the 6. It's there's a lot to think about in those sessions, and I think the drivers actually quite like it, because it puts the pressure on, doesn't it, Al?
So I think was it Dan Camish that said to me that it really is quite exhausting.
Yeah.
Because the period of time that you have to absolutely maintain focus and concentration is so elongated now compared to half an hour, out you go, and all done. You have to, not even just when you're in the car, but in between sessions, if maybe you're not on circuit but you're waiting to go out on circuit, you're absolutely remaining focused. It's a tiring day on Saturday was what Dan was saying.
Well, I think at one of the tracks this year, I think there was a red flag as well, but I think it was 1 hour 20 minutes or something, 1 hour 15 minutes to do the whole lot. And like you say, Al, for a driver, that's going to take a lot out of them, isn't it? Really is.
Yeah, it's that concentration, as you say, that's draining, isn't it? Sam Osborne's come in with a flappy-looking right rear bumper, so he might have had a moment
technical
somewhere.
term, is it?
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, that's rule number 3.16, flappy rear bumper, come to the pits, please. Yeah, but bit of gaffer tape, he'll be all right. But it might just come loose on its own, but he might have had a bit of an off there. So he's having that luck too at the moment by the Napa Racing squad. We've got 5 3/4 minutes to go. Tom Ingram from right at the start of the session, 1 minute 25.15. It was the 6th lap of the session, but it was his first proper flying lap of the session. He hasn't gone quicker. Nobody's gone quicker since then. Dan Camish came close about 10 minutes ago with a 125.204. He's 0.054 seconds away, 54 thousandths behind. Then it's Dan Rowbottom third, 125.368, 27 thousandths behind him. Jake Hill fourth, Adam Morgan fifth, and Colin Turkington has just popped himself up to 6th place ahead of Ash Sutton.
I've just got a bit of a serious announcement, actually. I'd like to do it sooner rather than later, really. One of the Accelerate fan club members, when you join up to become a fan of the team, you get, as part of the gift pack, you get an Accelerate a rucksack. And one poor fan last night lost his rucksack from the campsite, unfortunately. Now, the important thing about this, okay, we can replace the rucksack, but it does have some rather important medication in it. If it could somehow find its way, this rucksack and the medication, back to the Accelerate hospitality area, that would be hugely appreciated, and no further questions would be asked.
Thank you, Al. Yes, that's absolutely, really important that if anybody spots that or knows of its whereabouts, that medicine, that rucksack.
I think we can replace the rucksack. It's what's in it that we need.
Exactly right. Yeah, which can't be replaced easily. One imagines. Right, Dan Rowbottom has gone to the top of the times. Brilliant. With a 124.958. We've had to wait half an hour. Somebody's finally beaten Tom Ingram's time, and it's the
very good time.
Yeah, the driver got his maiden win here as a Dynamics driver in the Honda back in 2021. Dan Rowbottom that's done it. 124.958 by nearly 0.2 of a second. He's gone ahead of Tom Ingram. So Ingram down to second, Camish down to third, Hill's fourth, Morgan's fifth, Turkington sixth on his recent lap, Sutton is seventh, Taylor Smith eighth, Chilton ninth, 10th is Moffat, who was late to put a lap time in, but has now started going well. There's only 0.7 of a second covering the top 10. Ronan Pearson has just improved to 11th, Sam Osborne 12th, Mikey Doble 13th, Rob Huff 14th, Andrew Watson 15th, then it is Josh Cook in 16th, Darryl DeLee on 17th, Chris Smiley, Scott Sumpton and Nick Halstead in 18th, 19th and 20th. Do we need to worry about Josh Cook being all the way down in 16th?
Well, I'm just thinking about all the Speedworks cars, actually. Moffat 9th, Huff 14th, Cook 16th. Where's Watson? 15th. Yeah, that's pretty low going for them, isn't it?
Shall we not worry about it in FP1? Maybe towards the end of FP2 we should worry about it.
I'm always worried, Al. I'm always worried. Always.
I know you are. You're an anxious fellow, and I'm trying to settle you down.
Okay, watching. Dan Rowbottom's done a quickest outright second sector as well in that next lap. Not quite as fast, but
still quicker that lap time than Tom Ingram. He's got the first and second best lap times now.
He has, hasn't he?
And a good lap from Ronan Pearson as well. Personal best in all 3 sectors of the lap. The lap divided into 3. So the first, so we can see the progress of the lap. So the first sector takes you obviously from the start-finish line to the straight before you get to the Island Bend hairpin. Sector 2, Island hairpin, the run up Hilltop, and then all the way through Hislops, Knickerbrook, and halfway up Clay Hill. That's where Sector 2 ends, and then the really quick Sector 3 is Druids Lodge, and then the run to the start-finish line out of Deer Leaps. That's the way the lap is divided into 3. Personal best on this lap through Sector 1 for Dan Rowbottom as well. Bear in mind he's quickest, that could be another impressive lap, but you've got Aaron Taylor-Smith with the absolute best first sector time, a personal best second sector time. The Astra at the moment is just inside the top 10, but might be about to charge up the order here, the Irish driver. He's coming to the line shortly, and it's going to put him somewhere up near the top of the order unless he has a nightmare final sector of the lap. So him and Dan Rowbottom both to keep an eye on. Wait for the Vauxhall to come through and see what the time is like for Aaron Taylor-Smith, and it is quick enough to go to the top of the times, 124.926. So by 32 thousandths of a second he goes quickest. Rowbottom comes through and does another decent lap, but a 125.182 isn't quite as quick as his previous 2.
That's a great lap from Aaron Taylor-Smith. He said he was confident, and certainly underlined that there. Although 0.03 of a second is not much of a breathing space, is it?
No, 32 thousandths of a second to the number 32 car of Dan Rowbottom. That is the tiny gap that we have. 0.2 back to Ronan Pearson, who is now third quickest with a 125.126. He's had 2 quick hot laps, so feeling like qualifying tight runs here are happening. Ingram therefore has slipped to 4th, Camish has slipped to 5th, Jake Hill 6th, then Adam Morgan 7th, and Colin Turkington 8th. Ash Sutton 9th, and Tom Chilton in 10th place. 36 seconds left on the clock. Camish goes through, so he's going to start his final lap of the session now. Chilton will get another lap in as well as he goes into Old Hall Corner, and the Napa Racing UK car of Sam Osborne will also start his final lap of the session.
Another great first sector from Aaron as well on that lap.
Yeah,
another outright best.
Absolutely best in that first sector, and then he's done a 32.5 in the middle sector, which is about 2.5 tenths down, so he's lost a reasonable amount of time in that middle sector, so might struggle to improve the overall lap time. Let's see, he comes through. No, he won't. 124.922 because he does a really good final sector as well, so he lost out a bit in the middle, but he gained it all back at the end, and he's 4 thousandths of a second quicker on that lap than he was before. That's consistency for you, isn't it?
Wow, that's brilliant, yeah.
Mega stuff. Ronan Pearson sees the checkered flag. Good session for Ronan in 3rd place, the best of the Hyundai's only bettered at the moment, and we're in the last stages now by Taylor Smith's Astra and Dan Rowbottom's Ford Focus. So impressive that. Taylor Smith 36 thousandths of a second quicker. Rowbottom, they were the two pushing on right at the end of the session. Thank you, Matt. So Matt James from Motorsport News. Good to have Matt with us. He's going to go down and try and get some stories now down from that first session of free practice. Aaron Taylor Smith then quickest in FP1, 124.922 with the 2 best lap times of the session, but he was only 36 thousandths of a second clear of Dan Rowbottom, who was 2nd. Then Ronan Pearson 3rd, Tom Ingram 4th, Dan Camish 5th, and then it was Jake Hill in 6th place. You only got 0.3 of a second between 1st and 6th. But then there's a bit of a gap. Another 0.3 back was Adam Morgan in 7th, so he's 6 tenths down on the fastest lap time, did a 125.528. Adam was only 3 thousandths of a second clear of Colin Turkington, who was 8th. Ash Sutton was 9th, and then in 10th place, Tom Chilton, 7.5 tenths of a second, or 3/4 of a second, covering the top 10. 11th, Aidan Moffat. 12th was Sam Osborne. 13th, Mikey Doble. 14th, Rob Huff. 15th was Andrew Watson. 16th was Josh Cook. 17th, Darryl De Leon. 18th, Chris Smiley. 19th, Scott Sumpton. And 20th was Nick Halstead. But as I say, free practice. Lots of them just working through checks and systems. But nonetheless, an impressive lap time. That from Aaron Taylor Smith.
Aha. Just popped out for a bottle of water and he's coming. Yeah. Oh, it's that hot, is it?
Yeah, it's warm out there.
Oh, right. Okay, Nick, I just wanted to have a quick chat to you to find out if you're back to 100% fitness and health.
I'm at 95.
Yeah, a bit shaken after Thruxton.
Yeah, and it's going to take a little bit to get back into it. You know, it's it's little tense.
Twinges here and there.
Yeah, but we'll be fine by race day.
Nothing broken and
just serious muscle pulling, you know, and those just unfortunately take a while to get back to fully normal. But lots of painkillers and lots of adrenaline, and we'll be fine.
Okay, mate. Thank you very much indeed. Good to hear it, Nick. That was just one little story I wanted to follow up from a couple of weeks ago. The car was terribly bashed up, wasn't it, for poor old Nick, and he was a bit shaken about as well. But the good news is, so bit of adrenaline, it works absolute wonders, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. That's all for free practice 1. You can join us at 12:25, where you can join us for free practice 2 a little bit later on. Taylor Smith top. Let's see if he can continue it later on into free practice 2 and qualifying. See you then.